Hello, today we're going to be talking about DnSpy. DnSpy is a nice way to disassemble assemblies. It takes .NET code and IL and DLLs and turns them into C#. It's very nice. You can use it to edit assemblies very easily. You can edit them in place, which is fantastic. It means you can basically make changes, push them right back, and test them out. Our goal for today is to remove the fog for screenshots from TaleSpire. This is a little bit tricky because the way the cameras wrap the environment, it's not super easy to just remove some of that. So we're actually going to modify the Unity assembly. So first thing we're going to do is open up the assembly. They're all in. So if you look in your games folder in Steam, Steam Apps, Common, TaleSpire, TaleSpire Data Managed, you'll find a list of assemblies, but these are the most important ones. The Bouncy Rock TaleSpire runtime is the primary. Then secondaries, these are kind of like utilities and data management and other things like that. So they're all in Bouncy Rock Bounce Package Runtime, and then there's third party, which is like Steam wrappers and stuff like that. Asset management, this is loading of asset data. The tools is really utilities, and then the data model is all the data models, how it stores and serializes all of its bits and parts. We're going to sidestep all of that and go directly to Unity. This is a bit of a weird jaunt, but modifying the Bouncy Rock Studio would require adding a lot of code, and it becomes way more complicated. So instead, we just go directly at the post-processing runtime. Fog. So if we go down here to fog, it should be in the list of classes. Here it is. And you're going to see a few things. Inside of the class fog, there's get camera flags, which grabs depth. There's is enabled and supported. This is our primary focus because we just want to tell it disable all the fog. This has a side effect of disabling the DOF, the depth of field, as well, because they're tied together in the same PostScript process. So first thing we want to do when we're making a change is you can actually edit the entire class, just a method. A lot of times it can be complicated to edit whole classes because you may have to include other references and assemblies and all kinds of really complicated stuff. So we're going to focus right now on just editing this method. I have a little bit of code that I've written, which is essentially we're going to say if input get key, because I want to make this configurable. I don't want to have to go back and switch it back and forth. So once I have it in, I should be able to press a key to make it happen. Now you'll notice right away that this is red. This means that it's missing the assembly reference, because we know in Unity Engine, which is included when you include scripting, we should have access to input. That means that the assembly itself is not referenced. So when we go to browse, we'll have to go back into Unity Engine. This is in the input legacy module. So if we include that reference, now it says, okay, I have that. So we can start using that. This will have to be done every time you're editing, which is a bit annoying. You could change the actual reference to it, but for now, I assume you're not going to make dozens of changes, so just adding an impromptu works pretty well. So here I'm saying I want to be able to do a left shift, get key down, and I'm going to use the F key. Now, the F key is a bit overloaded because it's used for the flashlight, the GM flashlight as well. So it'll make that a pop and appear and disappear. That's fine. It's not a biggie. All we're going to do is whenever left shift F is pressed, we're going to say this dot enabled equals false. Now keep in mind that all this thing is doing is going here and saying do we have our fog settings set up here? And it goes in, grabs the render settings for fog, grabs whatever the pipeline is, and does this big squash into whether it can support fog and if it has settings for it, and then if it should. So one little side note, if you are having trouble with a piece of code, say it's executing, you're not sure what's going on, you can use debug.log, and you can put in a message, fog2, and we're just going to say, oops, this enabled. So we'll be able to see what the results are. Where this outputs, if you go into your app data local low, so app data local low, Bouncy Rock Entertainment, TaleSpire, there's a player log, and that player log looks something like this, where you have this big log of all this stuff. You'll see here, I've already been doing a little bit of testing, we can see the output right in that player.log. So it's very handy as a way to debug if you're having some issues. In this case, I want also to be able to re-enable it. So let me go back to here, and we're going to type in another if. Now, you may be saying, well, why aren't you using key up? Key up is only done on render. We'd have to override the update. So normally you'd handle all key press events on the update. We don't have an easy way to do an update tick from this class. We'd have to override it and then change the external one to actually call update on it, and it becomes really complicated really quick. So we're cheating a little bit by doing just is it down, and if so, great. But that means we need 2 keys. So kind of annoying. So we're going to use our left control for fog on and left shift for fog off. Oops. So actually silly. We'll just say whatever it is at the end. So at this point, we're going in and saying, if left shift F is pressed, then disable the fog. If left control F is pressed, then enable the fog. So this should give us a nice toggle. At this point, DnSpy, you just hit compile, and then file, save module. So save module, it'll ask for a file name, and I'm going to give it the exact same one. You probably want to make a backup, but I'm going to replace the one that's in TaleSpire's actual install directory of Steam. If something goes horribly wrong, you can always right click, go to properties on TaleSpire in Steam, and then do a let me pull up that window. You can go into here, into the properties in Steam, local files, and then verify integrity of files, and it will replace whatever you've done, which is really nice. Also to note, every time there's an update from Steam, this will be replaced every single time. So you're going to have to get used to reapplying this if you want it to stay. All right, so we've saved that out. Now we can fire up TaleSpire and take a look and see if we've managed to get our stuff set up. Let's go into my test campaign. We're gonna do, so we see our fog, now it's gone, now it's back. You'll see the flashlight turns on and off with it because it doesn't check to see if it's exclusively pressed. So Shift F disables, Control F enables. And that's it.